Hey, what's up? 90 Day Fiancé, my review from Happily Ever After. And let me get the episode right before you gather me. Season 6, episode 5. I'm going to jump right in like I always do, and I have my notes. I'm going to go through it quickly, so pay attention. Jovi and Yara, they go on a date because he's going away in 3 weeks or so, Yara thought. But his job has told him, no, you have to go away in a couple days because you have to quarantine 2 weeks before you actually go to the trip. But he goes to Guyana for 2 months. So she breaks down. She loses her mind. His mom is watching the baby. She doesn't want anybody to watch the baby. I had a baby and I was dying for somebody to watch the baby, especially at 4 months. Everybody's different. I mean, okay. And then she's upset in the restaurant because she's like, I didn't think I would be left alone or be a single mother for 6 months because he's gone 2 months. He's gone every 8 weeks. So I'm like, but you knew his job, right? Or was you looking at the money and didn't think about the second part of it? Good question. Sorry I sound so nasally. My allergies killing me. Anyway, so my question is like when he said to you, I work every 8 weeks, I'm out of town, or every 2 months, what did you think was going to happen? And then when you got pregnant, you had to know you was going to get pregnant because you wasn't using protection, right? Is the logic, is it me? I don't understand. So Natalie and Mike, I don't know how they ever are going to work because she always has a problem. He's always doing something wrong. She always is trying to get him to be something he's not. And it's just tiring. And how long do you think he's going to go through this back and forth? Like, she don't want him to eat sweets. She don't want him to have beer. She just want him to be like what she is. I don't understand with Natalie and Mike. But anyway, they go to visit his mom, for the first time in 7 months. And Natalie is like, I'm nervous because it's always awkward between me and her. And I don't know how to react because it's just so concerning. And she comes and they see each other in the airport. And she goes, oh, very nice shirt. It's a plaid shirt. Your husband was a plaid shirt every damn day. Like, I guess it's to break the ice, whatever. So it's Mike's birthday and his mom made him a cake. And it's a chocolate cake. We know Natalie doesn't do sweets, so she has a problem. So she's like, how's it? And it says, happy birthday to Mikey and Mommy. And she's like, what does it say? I'm like, you can't read, but I'm going to leave it alone. So I'm just like, and then she said, it's very odd that he calls her mommy at 36. I'm like, what should he call her? Is it a cultural thing? Like, whatever you called your mother growing up is what you call her when you get older. Do you call her by her first name over in the Ukraine? I don't understand. Like, I call mother Ma. I've been calling her Ma since whatever. I've never called her mommy, but I will always call her Ma. Like, I don't, and I have to think about it now because I'm like, what do you call your mother when she calls? So that threw me for a loop. But anyway, then his mom asked, how are things going for you guys? And she's like, well, I don't see me living in Squim for a long time because where I'm from, it was energetic. I was a journalist. I was a model. I was an actress. I had a lot of things going on. I was full of life. And here, it's just not like that. And she's like, okay. Like, they're used to the country life. And I feel like, Natalie, you knew that kind of like, sort of, because you know where he lived. And then his mom's like, what about being a translator, until you can find something else or until something else comes along because you are still in the beginning phases, kind of like for the first year of your marriage. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that because I want to have one life and I want to live it. Bitch, what? Why couldn't you just say, that's a good idea, I'll think about that, but I would prefer to do X, Y, and Z. But just her attitude is just off. And his mother is not feeling them. Brandon and Julia. Brandon takes Julia to dinner with his friends, and Julia is not happy. She doesn't want to go because the place is like a brewery, I think. And the whole town, Brandon, I don't want to go to brewery. I don't like beer. Brandon, why your friend come? Brandon, did you have sex with the girl? Brandon, what? Like, if you don't want to go, don't go. Well, I don't want him to go by himself because I don't trust him. She's very standoffish, and the girl that he knew from high school brought her boyfriend of 4 to 5 years. Oh, boyfriend, not husband. So she might still want Brandon. Don't nobody want Brandon, but you. Okay. And the girl was trying to be nice to her and just ask questions. How'd you guys meet? How long has it been? Because you guys kind of got married quickly. And she's just looking at the girl, and the girl got an instant attitude. And the girl was like, look, it is what it is, but we've been married, we've been together 4 years, and I'm finding out different things about him every day. And she's like, so? Like, she's just nasty. And then she storms out and leaves, and she goes, Brendan, I go car. You go talk with her, because I'm not even here. Like, he's not including her, and she didn't want to hear all their, like, past stories from when they were growing up, which is stupid. Ronald and Tiffany. Ronald is talking to her son. Her son is there on the iPad talking to Ronald. It's just the boy and Ronald. And he's talking to him about things about he's asking about the about the visa. What if he gets denied? How long is it going to take? And Ronald is like, well, hopefully it'll come through soon, my boy. And, but if not, if it doesn't come through and I get denied, you guys will come live with me in South Africa. Really. But you shouldn't be talking to this boy about this kind of thing without his mother, because it's a joint discussion. It's a joint conversation. And you put so much pressure on this boy saying you have to come to South Africa. That's what's going to happen. It is going to happen. You have to come. You must come. And he's like, yeah, no, I'll run away. Like, why would you talk to him about that? It was very uncomfortable to watch, but he's trying to manipulate the situation. Then Tiffany meets up with her sister for drinks, and she's saying she's never moving over there. It's not safe, and she felt very unsafe every day that she was over in South Africa. They were supposed to go to South Africa before the whole pandemic started, but she canceled her ticket because she said, financially, I can't afford to do that, and you're not helping me. He just got a job. I don't know how that works over there, how you just don't work, and you just, okay. So her sister is like, are you telling him that you're not going to move over there? Like, once, if his visa gets denied? And she's like, no, I don't want to have the conversation. I'm never having a conversation until I absolutely have to, because it may trigger him. And because he's not a drug addict, excuse me. He is a gambler. And he had an incident last year where he gambled all his money away. What money? Because he don't have no job. But he gambled all his money away. And she thinks that having this argument will trigger him again if she says she's not moving to South Africa. And I'm like, so we just never going to talk about this until it happens, because he might go gamble? Like, how do you live your life like that? I don't know what addiction is like, so I'm not going to 100% give him a bad rap. But it's like, because you say no, that will make him gamble? Or is it because he's so stressed out, that's what calms him down? But at the same time, it's like, this is an actual life-changing thing. So will you never have tough conversations because everything that may go against what he says or what you say will, and every argument or conversation will then be a fight, and he may go gamble? Like, how do you live life like that, worrying about if I say no, he's going to go gamble? If I don't say yes to everything he says, he's going to go gamble, and it's going to trigger him. How do you live like that? Like, living with addiction, I guess, is a problem that I will never, thank God, have to deal with, or I haven't had to deal with. Let me just say that, because you never know. People who are addicted to stuff or who have an addiction, please, is it me? Help me understand so I'm not ignorant to what really happens. I mean, in my mind, okay, when you get, like, okay, maybe I'll use it as a food addiction. You get upset, you go eat. So maybe, is it the same thing with addiction? I don't know. But please enlighten me. Drop down in the comments. Give me something I'm missing. Andre and Libby. So he comes back to the house and tells her about how horrible Charlie and Rebecca was to him, and how Rebecca called him a dick. And, excuse me. And he's paraphrasing everything that happened. So he's magnifying it. So she's pissed off. Oh, no one calls my husband a dick. No one. But he is. Newsflash. Um, and he said he's gonna quit if they don't leave him alone. You gonna quit what? Like he has so many luxuries. Then they go to the lawyer about his immigration status and the visa process, and um Libby is on the way there. She's talking about how she wants a nanny because it's hard for her to work full time and have the baby. And when Andre was doing it for 2 years, when he wasn't getting paid and wasn't working, that's all he had to do was watch the baby. He didn't even have to work. So he's just like, yeah, no, I don't want a baby. I don't want a babysitter. I don't want a nanny kind of thing. Whatever. They go to the lawyer and talk about, here's the next steps. And now with COVID and the pandemic, they're even more strict on the guidelines and what you can and cannot do. And they're not, before it was, had your paperwork lined up, you good to go. Now it's, let's look further and let's dig deeper into what we can find about you to deny you access into the U.S. So his attitude is just so piss poor. It just makes me cringe watching. And she's like, is there any negative factors that may come up in the process as they are looking into your history or your job? And he's like, no, whatever happened in the past has nothing to do with now, and I buried it and I regulated it. She goes, but they can dig into it. They can find out what they need to find out. And he's like, no, it's not. It's done. It's done. I don't know how Libby, and I get it. Production makes him seem that way. Libby normalizes it. She makes it like it's regular. But how do you deal with somebody who is constantly a drain on your spirit and soul? And his arrogance, I can't take it. But she's like, if they dig up something and they find something of whatever you think is buried, you can be deported. So go to a deportation center and then be deported. Or we have to go to court, which is money, which Chuck is going to pay. What he probably was thinking. Loser. But Libby is like, are you sure, babe? Are you sure? Like she didn't know all that shit about him when that cop situation came up. Anyway, and he may have to take a paternity test to make sure that's his daughter. With that big head baby, the big box head, that's his baby. But we're going to move on. Angela is out of surgery. The doctor took 2 pounds from each breast. She still has a double D breast, but she doesn't see that because she's still swollen and it's only a day. But she's miserable. She doesn't want to talk to Michael. And I'm like, but if that was him, you would be going apeshit bananas and cursing him the fuck out. But it's always one-sided with her and him. So I will say from experience, when I had my breast reduction surgery, I looked down, I'm like, where'd it go? Like, because you're so used to them being out here and being just very visual. And then when it goes from that to bandage down and press, you're like, oh, I ain't got nothing. But the doctor said to her, you're looking at it at your current weight, which makes sense. When you get smaller, your breast will then look bigger and will be an actual size you will enjoy, you will like, and Michael shouldn't have a problem with it. So as he's explaining this to her, she said, I'll call Michael now so you can tell him about what it looks like. He's not happy. Sorry. She called him on the phone. The phone might have rang 3 times. Michael, what took you so long? What are you doing? Calm down. Damn. He said, I'm turning the light on. Like, what? Anyway. But, he just tries to promise her, like, you will still have big breasts, and this is what's really going to happen. Kalani and Asuelo, oh, Father God, in the name of Jesus. So Big Lo comes. I love Big Lo. And he wants to talk to Kalani at a coffee shop about what's going on about the divorce and how in their country, in Samoa, that they don't do divorce. Divorce is not a thing. I love Lo all day through and through because he's a really nice father to the grandkids, to the kids, but I'm not with him on this one. And he's like, basically, stay with it for 18 years for your family because you guys have kids now. If you didn't have kids, then I would say you can go ahead and get divorced, but you got to try harder or at least stick with it for 18 years. I don't know how they do that in Samoa. I don't. But she's like, yeah, I don't know, because we tried to talk and he doesn't want to talk. And then he takes Asuelu to play golf to talk to him. It's just him and him. And Asuelu, like, I didn't know she wanted a divorce, or I didn't know things were that serious, which is telling. It's like, did you not see all this happening when she's arguing with you, she's talking to you, she's crying? But maybe in his mind, because he's in that culture, that he thought it's just a conversation and an argument and would never get a divorce. I don't know. And then Lo tells him, like, I went through this with my wife and it'll be fine, but you have to work harder at communication. So he tells us, Asuelo says, thank you for telling me this. Thank you for coming to me and always being there for me, which was very nice, because he could have just been like, whatever, and wrote it off. But he appreciated her father talking to him versus them talking around him and behind his back. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. Like, comment, and subscribe. Help me out. What is addiction like for gamblers? When you get sad, what does that do for you? Is that a high? When you're happy, do you do it too? Help me.